Hello everyone and welcome to Seers Isle, which is a narrative game set in a fantasy version of medieval northern Europe. And yeah, let's just jump right in and try it out. Seers Isle is an interactive graphic novel. During your adventure, you will be asked to make choices that will define how your story progresses. When one of your decisions influences the relationship between the protagonist and the other characters, one or two symbols light up on the top of the screen. The eye, the hand, the man, the deer. In Seers Isle, your progress is saved automatically. You won't be able to change the decisions you've made. However, the sum of your choices always leads to different scenarios. It's impossible to lose in Seers Isle. Choose wisely. I was the wind. Time no longer existed. Disembodied solitude was my punishment. This is what the seers have decided. I saw the heathland coat itself in purple flowers. The grass yellow at Litha. The leaves of 100-year oaks reddening and falling to cover the mossy undergrowth with orange-brown mold. Feels a bit Scottish Highlands? The first snows of Yule, and I was going to say that it is a bit Viking-y as well. And Yule is Viking. Not a living soul. I forgot who I was. Then they arrived. Oh? Vikings? Cliffs. Hey! We're nearing the beach. There, do you see it? There's an undercurrent. If we put in head on, we won't have time to maneuver to avoid the reefs. I see it, but if we keep the sail full with the sea breeze, we should be fine, right? We're losing speed. If we don't do something, we'll drift towards the cliffs before we reach the shore. Listen, I don't want to be a killjoy, but have you seen those big black clouds? Connor looks towards the island with obvious concern. The rain begins to fall. Their names are not very Viking, though. Except that. This storm doesn't feel natural. They turn to look at Arlen. You're the sailor. What do we do? Well, I'm not sure. Whatever we do, we risk foundering on a reef or getting swept out to sea. If there's a collision, I'm not sure the boat can take it. It would be disastrous. The rain pours down and thunder rumbles. Good question. I mean, the sails are important, but so is, the hull of the ship. Huh. During a storm, you should not keep the sails up. So let's reduce the sails. Connor is sitting at the bottom of the boat, clinging to the rail. The sea becomes more and more troubled. Losing no time, Duncan pulls a rope to trim the sails. The fragile skiff slows bit by bit. Everyone holds their breath. Oh boy. A few yards from the beach, the boat abruptly lists starboard and picks up speed, drawing dangerously away from the shore. There's a maelstrom! We're not going to make it. Get the oars out! Everyone works to fight against the current, but the ocean refuses to be mastered and the boat continues to drift. It hits a sharp outcrop before a wave pushes it in the other direction and carries them towards the beach. Without hesitation, Eric leaps into the water and pulls the boat up before it can get caught in the backwash. Connor sees something out of the corner of his eye. Brandon is overboard! Far away, a silhouette is struggling against the current. Duncan is ready to jump into the water, but Arlen can still take the lead. No offense, Arlen, but I think he is probably stronger. So, let's let Duncan do it. Duncan hastily removes his weapons and gear before plunging in the direction of the struggling man. The icy waters pierce him like 1,000 needles. He knows he doesn't have much time to act. If he stays in the water too long, his muscles will weaken and he won't be able to get back. When he is close enough, he realizes that it's Brandon the carpenter. Of course, I already said that. He must have fallen overboard when they hit the reefs. He is thrashing frantically, exhausting himself with his struggles. Duncan shouts to stay calm. Suddenly, he disappears beneath a wave and doesn't surface. Duncan dives and grabs him by his tunic. The way back to the shore is difficult. Strong currents drag the two men towards the open sea, but he doesn't give up. Little by little, he approaches the boat and the group. Eric comes over to help pull Brandon out of the water. The two men carry him higher up the beach, out of reach of the waves, and lay him gently on the sand. Brandon is unconscious. Jennifer kneels by the carpenter's head, concerned. He's unconscious, but he's breathing. She rummages in her bag and pulls out a small brown glass vial. Lifting his head with one hand, she waves the vial under his nostrils with the other. Brandon's eyes snap open and he splutters and chokes. Jennifer helps him turn over. When he is on all fours, he vomits up a quantity of salt water. She turns to the group. His life isn't in danger. However, his leg is wounded. I'll have to bandage it straight away. His breeches are torn and he has an ugly gash across his right shin. We should make a fire to warm him up. That is definitely very Viking. Good idea. Besides, Duncan is soaked to the skin. Duncan is shivering with cold. I'll go and collect some wood. Staying in wet clothes is a great way to catch a fever. I'll see if I can find a way inland. The driving rain has lightened to a fine drizzle, as if the Seers had willed the storm for their arrival. The beach is littered with wrecks, old and less old, and is surrounded by a high, pale stone cliff. Are we at Dover? Freya gets up to catch Eric, while Arlen prepares to go seeking wood for the fire. To catch Eric? That sounds weird. Let's watch Freya. I wonder what that means. Eric moves away. Freya calls to him. Wait, I'm coming with you. She runs a few strides to catch up with him. Eric watches her approach with scorn. I warn you, I don't intend to wait for you. In my clan, the women have better things to do than bothering the hunters. Let's ignore the comment. Freya points towards the east. Look, the cliffs don't seem as steep that side of the cove. Eric nods. Yes, I thought I'd start that way. The two of them set off walking. Can I ask you a question? Yes? What's a warrior like you doing on the island of the Seers? I thought it was the women who acted as shamans in all the northern clans. Eric stops and stares out to sea. Not for us. My father was our clan's shaman. He was killed during a raid at Samhain. I made a vow to take his place, to honor his memory. I'm sorry. You, the clan of the bear, you're protected by the forest and other clans, like mine, whose lands are closer to the ocean. Maybe they are druids, actually. They might be Celtic. It's us who are first to suffer the raids of the invaders from the sea. Yes, they are talking about the about the Vikings. Those savages spare no one. Eric turns towards Freya. And you, what led you to become a shaman? My family was chosen to succeed Gudrid, our shaman. Ah, I see. That's the custom? Yes, in our clan, the shaman selects the person who will succeed them. It's a great honor. I hope one day I'll be as good a healer as Jennifer. Gudrid didn't have the time to initiate me in the art of herbalism. Eric bursts out laughing. Think about that later. First, we have to survive the initiation. Did you see that storm? I've got a feeling the Seers aren't going to make life easy for us. I'm gonna say the Seers are not to blame. I don't believe the Seers had anything to do with that storm. Still, the weather changing all at once like that, it's not natural. At sea, it is, dude. I don't know. There's no mention of that kind of test in the lore. And I don't believe that the Seers want to eliminate us before giving us a real chance of passing the initiation. Still, when you see all those wrecks on the beach... Freya stops at the foot of the cliff. Look, there's a... Eric squints. Yes, it looks like a path. What looked like a stair seemed to have delved into the rock and snake up the cliff face. I think we've found our way inland. But who would have built it? That must have been a colossal task. Eric shrugs. Shall we go back and tell the others? Eric and Freya turn back. When they arrive at the camp, the group is huddling around a small fire drying off. Brandon seems to have come around. Connor wants to speak, but he hesitates when he sees Freya and Eric heading towards them. We've found a path. There's a stair that climbs the length of the cliff. A stair? How's that possible? I thought this island had always been uninhabited. And even if, I don't know who could have built such a thing. Hundreds of steps carved into the rock. All I know is that there's a path and I don't plan to take root here. Wait, I don't think it's wise to just charge ahead like that. Do the legends speak of this stair? I don't think so. I've never read any mention of it. But you're right, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put what we know together. What do we know about the trials ahead of us? Freya suddenly speaks. She seems to be reciting something she has learned by heart. We must reach the top of the mountain at the center of this island. Along the path we will have trials to overcome. The Seers will give the sacred flame to those who reach the summit. The sacred flame bestows the gift of second sight, of divination, and of healing to those who are worthy. After, we rejoin our respective clans as shamans. Freya lowers her eyes. Unfortunately, I know little more. My mentor prepared me as well as she could, but she never told me what happened on this island during her own initiation. The others are quiet. I have to admit, I can't add much more. Leith, the shaman of my clan, is the only one who returned from his expedition. He never spoke of it either. Brandon gets up and limps a few steps. I don't want to die here. If someone had told me, if I'd... Brandon breaks off with a blank gaze. Let's reassure him. Connor gets up and puts a hand on the carpenter's shoulder. There now, we're all in the same boat. Anyway, we're not going to leave you here all alone. With this wound, I'm going to slow you down a lot. I don't want to put the success of the whole group at risk. The injury isn't very deep, and there's nothing broken. This time tomorrow, you'll be walking normally. In the meantime, we'll find you a walking stick, and you'll be able to keep up. Freya looks doubtful. You haven't seen the stairs. It's really steep, and with the rain, the steps are going to be slippery. It will take hours to get Brandon up that way. Brandon looks hopeless. To everyone's relief, Arlen speaks up. While we were collecting the wood, Connor and I found a boat. A boat? You mean something that's not a wreck? Yes, a bit further, behind a rock. The hull looks sound, but the sail is torn. Maybe we could use it to go around the island. Seeing as no one has heard about this stair, there has to be another way in, right? Are you sure this boat can go to sea? Sure? No, I couldn't say that, but I believe Brandon is a carpenter. Brandon, you'll be able to tell us if the boat is seaworthy, won't you? Yes, no problem. We've been carpenters for generations, father to son in my family. I mean, I'm only the third son, but I'm just as capable as my elder brothers. I know about boats. I'm used to this kind of work. Perfect. In that case, let's go see this boat. The group sets off. When they arrive at the other craft, Brandon sets to work checking its condition. He stoops under the hull, then pulls a rope to check if it's sound. The others patiently wait while the carpenter checks everything. Well, there's a bit of damage to repair if we want to go into open sea, but it should hold up if we stay close to the coast. Brandon hesitates. What is it? What are you not telling us? Well, I know it's impossible, but I think this is... well, I think it's our boat? Connor takes a few steps back to look at the craft, and in fact, the resemblance is striking. But our boat is over there. How can this one be our boat? Brandon hobbles over to the prow and points to a rope. I don't know, but look. You see the painter there? It's split along the length, just like ours. And there, on the forecastle deck, there are two matching boards with a heart-shaped sapwood. You can check, but I'm sure it's exactly the same on our craft. Duncan looks at the boat, fascinated. Arlen is dismayed. Eric looks serious. Brandon continues. That said, the good news is that our sail is the perfect size, seeing as the boats are identical. It's not worth the risk. If the boats are really identical, it might be a trick the Seers are playing on us. I think it would be wiser to take the stair. I don't think we should consider that in our decision. Who's to say the Seers haven't given us a copy of our boat to help us? If we believe the legends, this type of strange phenomenon is going to happen more and more often as we get closer to the summit. But the stair still seems safer to me. It's a sure way to get inland. Nothing guarantees we'll find a better way by sea. Besides, we should get going straight away. The longer we wait, the less distance we cover by nightfall. I think we're all agreed that we don't want to linger on this island. Easy, Duncan. Maybe we could ask everyone before taking a decision, don't you think? Jennifer's right. Everyone should be able to say what they think. Freya and Eric exchange glances. Eric shakes his head. I think it would be better to look for another way in by sea. That stair looked really dangerous. There's got to be a safer route. Plus, Brandon can't come with us if we take the stair. With that wound, he'll slow us down a lot. If you'll allow me to give my opinion. They turn to look at Brandon. It doesn't bother me to stay here. You'd give up the trial? Listen, I think it's clear to everyone that I'm not really made to be a shaman. I promised my family to do my best to honor my clan, but still, I don't intend to die on this island. Leave me here with my share of the supplies. I'll get by just fine. What about you, Connor? What do you think? Connor is taken unawares. He's not used to people asking for his opinion. Yes? What? Sorry. Arlen and Freya want to take the boat. Eric and Duncan want to take the stair. Brandon's fine with us taking the stair and leaving him here with some supplies. As for me, I think it would be wiser to try to find another way. It's up to you to decide, Connor. Connor hesitates. If he doesn't intervene, Eric will probably drive the group into taking the stair, even if it means abandoning Brandon. Connor? Ooh, this is a good question. I mean, yes, that would be quicker, probably. But, I mean, I don't feel good about leaving him behind. Because, I mean, he is injured, and technically it could get infected. So I would feel better about taking him with me. So let's take the boat. I'm more inclined to take the boat. It would be a shame to abandon one of our own before we've even got inland. Arlen, would you be able to get the sail from the other boat? Yes, no problem. Arlen loses no time and jogs to their wrecked boat. She's glad to feel useful. To tell the truth, all these stories of Seers and the sacred flame disturb her. She hoists herself onto the deck, takes off her shoes while she judges at a glance the height of the mast. Then she swarms up to the crosstree. She recalls with affection the climbing races she had as a child with her brothers and sisters. In the evenings after supper, when the fishing boats returned to port and night had not yet fallen. Straddled in the rigging, she unties the sail. Their crafts aren't very complicated, which helps the job. Beneath her, Brandon is recovering the bag with the tools slipped under the forecastle. Hey, Brandon. The young man looks up. Can you catch the sail? Yes, go on. Brandon grabs the corner so that the canvas isn't carried away by the breeze. Arlen unties the last knot, then slides down to the deck. Shall we fold it? The two fold the canvas and return to the group with the sail and the tools. As soon as they arrive at the other boat, Brandon sets to work repairing the weakest points in the hull. Brandon's wound seems painful, but despite that, he seems much more in his element, which makes Arlen feel better. She's not the only one who feels completely outmatched by these great warriors from the northern clans, who seem born to come to this island. The difference is that, unlike Brandon, she doesn't have the luxury of giving up at the first obstacle. The well-being of her family depends on the success of her initiation. Arlen realizes that she will need help to attach the sail. Let's ask Connor? Connor has moved away and is idly watching Eric. I don't think it's supposed to be Connor that says that. Hey, Connor. Either Connor is lost in thought or he's pretending not to hear. He turns on his heels and ambles off in the opposite direction. Clearly, he doesn't want to help out. Fine. Arlen tells herself that it's probably not worth making Connor uncomfortable. And it's not as if everyone was busy. Let's ask Duncan. Okay, Duncan has moved away and is looking out to sea. Hey, Duncan. Duncan turns and smiles. Can you give me a hand putting up the sails, please? Yes, of course. What do you need me to do? That depends. Would you be able to climb to the top of the mast? Duncan lowers his eyes, looking embarrassed. Well, I mean, it's not... I'm not very good at climbing. Arlen smiles. Oh, really? And yet you insisted on us taking the stair. Yes, it seems to me like the safest and fastest way inland. You know, I haven't got much time. Oh, really? Why? I need to get back to my clan as fast as possible. They need me. Arlen is about to ask more, but Duncan changes the subject before she can open her mouth. Can I do something else to help? Yes, in that case I'll climb up and tie, and you can pass me up the sail, so that it doesn't get twisted. Ah, that I can do. Arlen gets to work with Duncan's help. In no time, the old sail is on the ground, and Arlen hangs the undamaged sail along the yard arm. She stands back to inspect her work. Brandon joins her. Is the sail okay? Yes, you were right. Our sail is the perfect size. And you? Were you able to repair the hull? I've done the bare minimum so that she doesn't sink like a brick. But it will need a few days' work if we want to get back to the mainland with this boat. Eric approaches. All good? Can I get it in the water? Arlen and Brandon agree. They went back to sea. This time the waters are calm. A soft breeze off the sea fills the sail. The Undines, the spirits, the protectors of the sea, have decided this time to let them pass. They have rounded a cove towards the north. I waited on the Bay of Whales. A gentle, accommodating current carries the boat to me. They moored and prepared to go onto the heathland. Freya has barely jumped onto the beach when Duncan reaches the end of the creek. There's a path! The others run to join him, but Freya is fascinated by the gigantic bones strewn across the sand of the bay. Some are scattered on the ground, others point towards the sky like teeth. She finds it hard to believe that an animal of that size could exist. When she was small, the shaman of her clan had taken her on a pilgrimage in the mountains. In a painted cave which traced the origins of her clan, there had also been the remains of a huge animal, but that was nothing in comparison. Gudrid had explained to her that it was the skeleton of a woolly elephant, a giant beast that the ancestors hunted and revered at the dawn of time. But it had vanished when the Isis had retreated from the world, and the clan had chosen a new totem. Freya feels a presence behind her. It looks like whale skeletons. She turns intrigued. Whales? Some kind of monster? Arlen laughs. Oh, they're not monsters. They're a type of sea animal. They're not aggressive. Freya has trouble picturing the animal. A kind of fish, perhaps? We see them in open sea sometimes, in fall and spring. Arlen looks serious. But I'm surprised to see so many stranded in the same place. They rarely come close to the coast, usually. You know, in my village, it's a sacred animal. It's forbidden to fish for them. In any case, to fish that, you would need a really, really big hook, right? The two girls laugh. Arlen points at a big oblong bone lying a little further away on the sand. That, though, that comes from a real sea monster. Oh yeah? It's not a whale bone, that? No, I think it's a cuttlefish bone, but I've never seen one as big as that. The ones we catch are little, but this one must have been really massive. Arlen shows the size with her fingers. What's a cuttlefish? A bit like a squid or an octopus? These strange words don't convey much to Freya. How can I explain? It's a sort of fish with 8 tentacles, like arms if you like, and it walks on its head. Do you see? Arlen tries to imitate the animal with limited success. Freya kens that the sea is surely full of mysteries. But it's delicious to eat. If we pass the initiation, you'll have to come see me in my village. I'll prepare you some. I mean, if you want. Yeah, Freya agrees. Freya is about to accept the invitation when Duncan interrupts. Hey, are you coming? On our way. Come on, let's go. Otherwise, we'll be told off by the boss. I mean, I was at Duncan's, not the boss. The boss? You mean Duncan? Oh, don't look like that. I was joking. The hunter and the fisher rejoin the group, who are about to take a path which winds along the cliff. Freya notices that the slope is gentler on this side and the cliffs much lower. Nothing like the stair she and Eric had discovered earlier that day. Jennifer has rebandaged the cut on Brandon's shin. The wound isn't bleeding anymore and looks like it's starting to heal. It's going to be okay, Brandon. Can you get up? Brandon tries to stay cool, but it's clear he is suffering from Jennifer's probing. Ouch. Yes, it should be okay. With a walking stick, I shouldn't lag behind too much. The cut is already closing. Yes, I think you can walk. I'll stay with you to help you. Duncan waves to the others to follow and sets off on the path. Anyway, I am going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider leaving a like and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye!